Welcome to the Restructuring video series with myself, Luke Venner, and Jack Callow from Bishop Fleming. Hi, Jack.
Hello, Luke. How are you?
Very good. Yourself?
Very well, sir.
Good. So, stock, retention of title?
That's it,
Yeah.
ROT. It's important to know throughout the conversation that ROT is a mechanism to retrieve stock back if you do not receive payment for it. Stock is very simple. Everybody in business knows the relationship. You buy something in for X, you do something with it, or you sell it on for Y, and Y is usually more than X, and that's your profit. That's your contribution to costs, overheads, and your bottom line. Mm-hmm. Stock, we know features in the working capital calculations we talked about in a previous video. We know stock. We know the relationship with stock. So therefore, we need to be really alert to any issues with stock. Because it's a fundamental part of the business operation. Stock, all sorts of things can happen. Things can go out of fashion, things can come into fashion, there could be quality issues. Sometimes stock doesn't shift in the way you thought it might, mm-hmm. And we can also help with that. But today we're going to talk very much about ROT, and the point of ROT is that when you get a good sale away, the customer's healthy, the customer should be paying you, you need to make absolutely certain the stock's of good quality. You need to put yourself in the best possible position to not lose that sale. But unfortunately, sometimes the inevitable does happen, and problems can arise within the customer. And you've done a video on customers and where we can help there. But if the worst does happen, it's about putting your business, in the most resilient and robust position it can possibly be in relation to that sale. And that's where ROT comes in. And ROT is a contract. It's valid on sale, and it basically prevents title of the stock, ownership of those goods passing to the purchaser until they've been paid for.
So that's the value in having a proper retention of title.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's if it doesn't go the way it should, so there's nothing wrong with the goods. They're still in fashion. You can still make use of them elsewhere. They hold value to yourself. If you don't get payment, obviously you won't get your profit element. But if you don't get payment, then you have a route to at least get that stock back, which will then allow you to potentially shift it on to a different customer.
Okay, so we know what ROT is. We know why it's important. How does somebody like us, for example, or lawyers, how do they sort of fit into that as advisors? Yeah,
so the first advisor that's going to have input and add value to the process is going to be your legal representation. You want, if it's a contract, so you're going to want to make sure that it's drawn up properly, that it's enforceable. You want to make sure that the customer's aware of it, and that it's all been agreed to. When it's time to call it in, when it's time to act on the contract, the ROT or contract that is in place, it's not always as simple as bringing in a legal representative. There's more to the process. You can bring in somebody from a restructuring background, and we can first and foremost talk to the customer. We can find out what the situation is, what the issues are. If it's already too far gone, we can actually operate around the practicalities of getting in there and getting stock back, and we can help and hold hand and manage the guidance around on how to execute getting your stock back. It's also very important to understand what a good ROT clause looks like. You have things like all monies and simple clauses. If you are modifying your stock, or your customer is modifying your stock, so you are just one within the chain. If they modify the stock, there are issues around whether it is you have to return effectively what you've given them, not a modified version of it. So it's a really quite complicated area, but it's a really, really useful tool to build resilience within your operations. So to at least give you a chance of recuperating something in a circumstance where things go wrong.
Well, I guess once you've got your ROT in place, that should apply to multiple situations. So it's just about getting the terms in place, basically getting your ducks in a row, isn't it?
Yes,
so that when you're transacting with your with your customers, your stock is secure. And we obviously see is restructuring people as insolvency practitioners. There are some pretty disastrous scenarios where ROT isn't robust, and you've supplied £100,000 worth of stock to a business. They go into insolvency procedure, and that stock is lost, and it's simply on the strength or the lack of strength of ROT, isn't it? So
absolutely,
very, very important.
I think the other thing to mention, you almost have a hand in what might be the restructuring process that that customer is going through, because if they're looking to salvage something from their business and move forward in a different entity, if you've got an ROT clause and they need your stock to make that transaction work, you know, you're going to have influence and you're going to be a part of the conversation, because you're either going to get your stock back or they're going to have to involve you in that restructure. And then it's all about how can I position the new entity to be the best customer I can have going forward.
And how do you react to that, and how do you sort of fit into the process?
Yeah.
So thank you, Jack. Some really good advice around stock and retention of title in particular. Thank you very much for watching.